Hello, everybody. It's CJ Miller. I'm across the Red River from beautiful Bossier City, Louisiana, and I'm here. I'm going to have a light dinner before I head out. I have something to do this evening, so I'm eating earlier. I have been doing so well on the keto diet that, even fasting for the last 24 hours, uh, by my count, give or take an hour. So today I get to have carbs. And so what I've done is I had this beef, I want to say this was a large sirloin cut. And so what I did was I put it in a pan and I braised it on a pan top or sauteed it in a pan. And I'll tell you the recipe for the sauce in a second. Um, this is basically it's a bag of instant potatoes to which I've added a lot of parsley to it, and it's a good flavor. It's a good brand that I've had before. And what I do is I just add parsley to it whenever I have them, and then of course a bit of whole wheat toast. And so, what makes this what this is? I mean, it's a really good cut of beef, and I sauteed it slowly. But what I started with was about half a tablespoon of butter. So about 2 tablespoons of butter, unsalted. That's the same as sweet cream. To that, I added an equal amount of balsamic vinegar and an equal amount to that, about two teaspoons of soy sauce. That's my basis. And then I added probably about 2 tablespoons of water to the pan. A little bit of accent or MSG. Accent is a name brand of MSG. Um, and in that water that I had dissolved, by the way, if I need to put this in, I had about 2 teaspoons of baking powder, which is cornstarch and baking soda, basically. And what that does is it adds a slight thickening. So even as this sits, and when I come back and I have a little bit more, either later tonight or tomorrow, then the sauce will be exceptionally thick and make for a really good thickness. But this is, what added to this, whatever kind of flavors in this sauce that I thought went well. For me, that is probably just a quarter of a teaspoon of pickle relish to add just a little bit to tone down some of that sweetness from the balsamic, but give it just a little bit of a twang to it. Believe me, it balances. It really does, because there's sweetness in the balsamic vinegar. There is some salt, and then of course that accent, that MSG adds a salty flavor. And basically, um, this is a light dish. I added no pepper to this at all, and I'm normally a pepper person. Like, let's put pepper on stuff. You know, this because of the other balances, the other flavors, the slight twang and everything like that. This really won't require pepper. If I needed pepper, I would just add it here, but it won't need it. So let's get into tasting. Hang on one second. Actually, let me get. It's all about these potatoes with the sauce, really. Everything else is here just to put in an appearance, but in this case, I'm super carb crazy. So this is exactly the brown sauce uh, that you want. And the reason why I used the balsamic vinegar and a bit of soy with the butter and as a base, is I find, oh my God, yes, I don't use wine in cooking at home. If I go out and they cook with it, I don't really worry about it. The alcohol pretty much cooks out, unless they pour the alcohol over the food after it's cooked and bring it to the table. Then there's some residual alcohol. But when they cook it, it pretty much mostly cooks out, and I don't really worry about that, even though I don't drink. But at home, yeah, no, I use balsamic vinegar and soy sauce and butter as a basis for a sauce that would be prepared, maybe using a little bit of a port or something like that in the cooking. It's not something you would need sherry for. Actually, you could take those three and do them together, and don't add anything to it, and just kind of like keep it so that when you make a soup, if you want to maybe add a little bit of a twist to it, a little bit of a twang that maybe your cooking sherry might provide to a nice soup. Um, but what you want to do maybe is you want to leave out the alcohol. Then you could use that blend that I talked about, that balsamic, equal part unsweet. I'm sorry, equal salt, equal part unsalted butter, balsamic vinegar, and soy sauce. And then of course you would add 2 parts water into which has been blended about 1/2 part or 1 part, depending upon the thickness that you're desiring, baking powder. And so, or cornstarch, either one of those would work. I use baking powder because the baking soda that's added to the cornstarch kind of adds a little bit of a under thickness to it, and it's also an additional source of a slight sodium. So that's why I don't add actual salt to this kind of stuff. And oh my God, this is really delicious. It looks great plated up. Let's get into the beef. Hang on, let me cut a slice while I put you on pause for a moment. And as you can see, this is just this side of medium well. I would say this is probably well done. There's just a little bit of pink in there, but this is basically, I would call this well done. For me, this is what I think of when I'm well done, where there's no pink juice flowing out and just a hint of what used to be a blush color to it. And the flavor very delicious. And of course, I didn't tell you there's I put a little bay leaf in to give it that little uh, just a slight herbiness to it. But this really, what's playing around is the slight saltiness. Without, this isn't like an overly salty meal. That's not the whole idea. But yeah, there's a slight. See this, like the salt hits my palate, and then which is not a table salt, but accent. And there are salts, and accent is a salt. It's a monosodium glutamate, so it's a chemical salt, but it's not a traditional table salt, and far less far less harmful than an overabundance of sodium from table salt. But yeah, even if I push into it, you know what I mean. So you could say this is a medium well. To me, it's almost a well. you know. And if you want this to look really nice, cut it in thin pieces and lie it out. Oh my God! But that salt flavor comes, but then after that, and it dissipates almost immediately. That's the first thing you pick up on. Oh wow, I'm getting that. Ooh, that sodium. That salt. But then what happens almost immediately is that you get a slight acidic twang from the balsamic, but it's not overly powerful. And then what happens is you get that balance of the beef flavor. This just a real, because these are light flavors in the sauce, and because this is a really good beef flavor. Oh, and it does. I did tell you. I didn't mention. No, I did put in just a touch of beef bouillon at the beginning of this sauce, just to taste. You don't necessarily need it. In this case, I had it on a hand, and so I used it. Just a little bit of powdered beef bouillon. You could use a broth beef broth that's been like reduced, or a beef stock or something if you want, or out of a prepackaged, just fine, or whatever. But yeah, but it's very subtle, but it does give that support to this natural beef flavor, and it doesn't rob from this beef, because you really want this was not a cheap cut of beef, and you don't you don't go out and spend $7 or $8 a pound for something like this, just to muddy it down with so many other flavors that you can't taste it. You actually, if you spend that much, you want to taste what the food is, uh, and the other flavors are there to enhance it. So you do really, with this treatment, really get to enjoy the flavor of the beef. And then, of course, for a nice crunch, whole wheat toast, which in this case, it's really just here to get some, yeah, a if you want to do cornbread or something, that's fine, or white bread, or Parker House rolls, whatever. But yeah, wonderful. Okay, bon appetit, guys. Love and light, and I'm sure that I'll make another video uh, later on this evening, or whatever, tomorrow. I don't know. Red River Revel videos are coming up, um, and so I'm going to be skipping out on the Jefferson uh, Starship part because I have a prior engagement, um, and I don't like to reschedule for something like that. But there will be a lot of people uh, that are going to be at that show, and they'll be sharing videos. And what I'll do is I'll share some of the links uh, that I've seen that they'll record from, and then um, I will be making a lot of videos from the Red River Revel throughout, because this goes on for it's a 9-day festival that we have here, and we love it. So that being said, love and light, peace to all of you. Bon appetit. Have a good night.